Hey guys, so I'm gonna try to do the rounds again like we did last time. We might talk about a little bit different things, but most of it should look the same, but I think it's just good to help kind of show you the options, as it's hard to be able to go through all of it in class, and this way it kind of gives you just a good way to evaluate the course when you're at trials or even at practice. So I'm going to start by just going through the course of the dog's path. And then from there we can look at a lot of the handling options as well as some of the trickier spots to really be aware of. So from a dog's perspective, this is probably the route that every dog is probably going to take, just because it's the naturalist path. And there's not really any other ways to kind of run the course besides maybe the push. I'm going to show you guys one. I don't think this will be the most natural way to do it, but I'll show you that when we get there. So let's just start with the beginning. So let's just start with number 1 actually. So since I'm gonna actually, let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The dog is coming to point into you instead of going out. So this is really kind of the first, I guess, tricky spot. So when you're setting your dog up, it's really important to know where to set your dog up, because this could determine kind of number 4, and just like shaping the line. Because if you can do it earlier on, it will help you for number 4. So let's just say we start here, or actually, we're gonna go even more. We're gonna go like right here. So the dog's path is looking right there. So depending on the dog's striding, it can maybe land here, it can maybe land here, it can maybe land here, because it might see the weaves. So it's just really important to know you and your dog. So let's just say naturally land, like let's just say here. So then as they curve, they might just, as soon as they land, easily lock in to the right side of the tunnel. Whereas if you have a dog starting about here, depending on the starting though, and it comes through here, I don't know, let's just go with that for now. It might now be able to see both options a lot more clearly and has to now pick between the right side and the left side, as it's kind of a 50-50 option on what side to pick. So hopefully that kind of makes sense of just how to shape your dog's line to be able to give them the most clear path of where you want them to go. So depending on you and your dog, you either want to be giving a lot of pressure or a little bit of pressure as we go into, that was really awful. Okay. But from your standpoint, you might either want to give a lot of pressure, number 2, to help, okay, I don't like this. Oops. To help get your dog to make this wide to come here and even cut off. So if you're able to make this wider here, the wing is even probably cutting off the number 10 option when the dog is over here. So for your standpoint, depending on the handler and the dog, you might want to really kind of push them out here a little bit to kind of help shape them to want to only see the left side. But then it's important to not step in and really connect, get those eyes in the head, and once you have your dog, then you can just slowly step into number 4, but don't start swinging your arm back out, or you easily could send them back into number 10. I also could say this jump, if you pulse them too much, this jump could be an option, but I don't think it will be. I don't think you guys will have any problems, but just something to be aware about. And you just want to make sure you pull and bring up that left hand too. It will really help. And some of you guys might even have, like, if you're at Mimi or you're in and then go tunnel, just no too big of arms, and don't send them back that way. Just connect. So that's that spot. Now let's go here. 6, 7, 8. So a couple different options is once you get them in the tunnel, you can either front cross or blind cross here and then go this way, or you can rear cross and be on this side and then rear cross and then go this way. Another option as well is if you send them into the tunnel, you can then get out and then stay on this side all the way. The most important thing though, if you're gonna do that, is you need to be up here before they go over number 5 jump, otherwise they're just gonna cut you off, maybe even go to the weaves. So if you're gonna run it all on the left side, you need to get ahead of your dog. Just trust your dog, send them in the tunnel, and then just get out. So those are a couple different options there. So if you are running on this side, a couple different things you could do is front cross or blind cross here. The biggest thing about, I would personally say a front cross, just because of blind cross, you're just showing forward motion, and it's harder for the dogs to want to stop on a teeter. So you could have fly-offs or unheld contacts. So I would probably front cross if you're gonna do that. Otherwise, you could just rear cross number 7 and then go into the weaves. Another thing you could do, but I probably wouldn't do, is you could also rear cross the teeter, depending on how well your dog rear crosses the teeter. But it's just kind of an awkward time because you really got to hold back, send them, and they really won't need to be able to drive ahead to the teeter without them wanting to come back off and kind of like turn around. But it's all option as well. So then we're gonna come out of the weaves. So they come out of the weaves and they go this direction. So as you can see, when they come out of these weaves, from the map's point of view, they see that tunnel from the moment they step out of the last pull. So for you guys, you need to be very careful. And as they come out, really hold them, pick them up, and make sure you have their eyes and connect with them. Bring up the right arm, not too much forward motion. And you can even kind of go towards the A-frame a little bit and then step back in to number 10. But the most important thing is connect, and then you can really send to that once you get more of that jump. Luckily, they don't have too much motion going into it as they're coming out of the weaves. So that kind of helps you guys connect with them, but make sure you connect so they don't go to the far side. So then once you get them into the tunnel, depending on where you are, I think most of you will probably try to want to be on this side. Otherwise, you could even be on this side as well. Either option, biggest thing is just look out for this jump right here, because they see this right away. That's the first thing they lock onto. That's the first thing they see the second they come out of the tunnel. Nice thing is that you guys are rear crossing the tunnel as you go this way and are on this side, so they should naturally want to curl out this way to come find you. But it's still important to just make sure that you connect with them real quick and make sure they're coming with you. Maybe even give a little come or here or name or something, so that way they're coming as you go this way and not wanting to go this direction. Perfect. So now we're going to go 12, 13, nice line. And then we have 13 to 14. So this is probably the way I would think most of you were to go. One thing you could do would be a little awkward, unnatural, lots of front crosses, and just kind of having to handle your dog a lot, is that depending on where this jump is, you maybe could come this way, but I'm just showing you that. But I probably would say just go this direction. Especially depending on if your dog has a stop contact or not. If they don't, then it's just going to be a nice natural path to number 14. If they have a stop, it might be a little bit difficult. So if your dog doesn't like pushes, I would really come out here and push them and really put pressure on their path, and that way they have some nice momentum going into number 14. If your dog does like pushes and you don't really have to babysit this too much, the biggest thing I would say is do not block the swing when you're pushing them to the back. And depending on what you're going to do, if you're going to do a front cross or blind cross, make sure that you do it, support the backside, and then get out of their way. Because if you end up like right here and then open up right to the tunnel they could go. So you want to make sure that you get your cross in about here-ish. Even if you get it here, just make sure you open up this direction and not towards the tunnel. So you could do your cross and then step to 15. Otherwise, the other thing you could do as well is, it might be hard to get that cross in, just with you and your dog going to number 14 together, is you could just hang back, let them land, block the tunnel entrance, and then rear cross 15. And then they 14, 15, 16, 17. And either whatever you end up doing, you're probably going to end up here. And then the biggest thing is to run through number 17 so they do not knock the bar. So that's kind of the main points of all for this course. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email me, or we can talk about it in class tomorrow.